Hello, I am Lauren and I am a sound healing doula. And yet again, I have something that has been on my mind, on my heart, and I just want to have an open chat with you about it. And I just kind of want to weigh in on this because it's something that I feel is very important, especially to those who are on their healing journey. And I actually think that it would help people at whatever stage they're at, so it's not like, oh, this completely doesn't apply to you, regardless of wherever you are. I want to focus today's little chat on milestones and having this idea that everything has to be figured out by X age, right? So by 18, this should happen, or by 25, these things need to be ticked off, or by 30, these things need to be ticked off. By the time you're 50, certain things should have been achieved in a very specific way. Just like having those ages that have sort of been talked about over the years, and sort of having certain life events or milestones that kind of go along with those ages. So I have been feeling very overwhelmed at the fact that my 30s are coming up. Now I have got a little way to go. I've got 3 years now, but there are things that I remember saying, like when I was 16, I remember being in my English classroom. It was our last lesson, and the English teacher said, in 10 years, everyone's life is going to look so different. Some of you are going to go on the path that you have sort of set yourself out for in this moment. Like, what that path looks like. And then there are others who are just going to go in completely different directions, but it's all going to add to your character development. And I didn't understand fully what she meant by that. And I am just in awe, as I'm sort of reflecting on this and thinking oh my gosh, this was sort of what she was meaning, where it meant that some of us in the classroom are going to have a house, have kids, have all these things, and then some of us are going to plan for certain things to happen, and then life is just going to be lifing and just getting in the way and doing what it does. And then for whatever reason, people just get steered in different directions. And just sort of meditating and thinking about the smallest thing that people say, it really has made me think that I like there are regrets that I have with the way that I sort of was able to think really big as the 16-year-old me, thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have all this sorted. I remember thinking back when I was 16 that by 25 I was gonna have a house, I was gonna get married, I was gonna be doing like a lot of adult-y stuff, and I thought, okay, well, 10 years from now I'm gonna pretty much have it all figured out. And now, like, I've not hit those goals. And just thinking about how I anticipated life would be as a 16-year-old thinking forward versus the actual reality, it's been tough. And I am sort of here kind of reflecting and putting things into perspective, because when I was 16, the world was very different, and I know that a lot of people say like, oh, when I was your age I could do this. Okay, fine, but because the world has shifted in so many different ways, it has actually opened up the space to kind of see like what is actually possible when you put your mind to it. So with me, currently I'm in a space of deep reflection, and I remember that I'm always making progress, even if it doesn't look like it to somebody on the outside. Like, I could literally be sitting here, I could be resting, I could just be still in meditation. So to a person on the outside, it may not look like I'm doing anything, as in moving in a way that seems to look productive. But if we look internally, that meditation session has revealed to me what my next aligned step is. And then when it comes to opening up the portal of knowing what that divine action is, the one that feels good, the one that lights you up, like that was the whole point, or maybe like not the whole point, but one of the intentions of that said meditation. Now, if I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't have come to that realization. So whereas somebody else could potentially be going out to work, talking to loads of people, that is how they see productivity and stuff, and just making moves towards their goals. But because there is somebody else who is also working on goals that are different from the next person, that level of knowing what productivity looks like and feels like, I feel like is really important to sort of raise awareness to. So yeah, like the whole idea of reflecting and coming up to ages that are connected to expectations in and around society, and then for whatever reason not living up to those standards or those expectations from other people, Like, it's a lot, it's heavy, but at the end of the day, like, I have to keep reminding myself this as well. And I'm hoping that maybe this is going to reach somebody who needs to hear this. But those people who you are taking direction from or trying to impress, trying to make proud, they're not going to be here all the time. So even if you feel like your journey is different, and it will be, like, it won't be a copy and paste situation from the person who kind of gave you that guidance, but if you're able to see that little bit of hope, that reason as to why you are doing what you're doing in the way that you're doing it, that can kind of like give you the push to keep going so that you end up seeing results. And when it comes to making progress, reaching milestones, while somebody else may be focusing on things like the really big money amounts and like getting a whole bunch of recognition from other people in the form of sales, testimonials, there comes a point where you can be recognized from an internal point of view. So if you look inside of yourself when meditating, when journaling, you can actually recognize yourself, as in, like, if you see that smaller version of yourself and you listen to the words that they're saying, like, oh, did we get the house yet, or whatever, it may be a no, but it's like, no, we're working on it. And while we're working on it, there are lots of other things that have come about as a result of waiting. So with this, there is just a lot of energy around like dissolving that expectation that things need to happen by a certain date. There are internal clocks or deadlines that I feel like a lot of people place on themselves, and then when it comes to it, like, that deadline has passed, but you're still safe. Like, that emotional deadline doesn't really, I'm not going to say it doesn't mean anything, but in the grand scheme of things, it is such a small part of your story that it can sometimes limit you from taking the action that is ultimately going to lead you to feeling happier with the moment and situation that you're kind of just being surrounded by. So I kind of say all this to say that there is so much in being still, but taking things at your own pace. And that's kind of, it's interesting because as I said that, I feel like that's some advice that I need to hear and I need to digest. So I feel like this was a very much needed thought process, brain fart. I don't know. But yeah, like that's just something that I've been deep in thought about. And the fact that we're able to say like what we want now, and like we've got the power to change a situation that we don't like, that is incredible. And for anyone else who is feeling like they're unheard or is just feeling very overwhelmed by life as it is at the moment, that's okay. Like, you're not the only person that is going through this. So yeah, like whatever age you're at, it's okay to slow down, to start over, and making sure that you feel safe with whatever decision you make. I feel like that is the most important takeaway from what I've had to say. So I will catch up with you very, very soon. And if you feel like you want to continue this conversation, follow me on my socials. I will put this I'll put them in the description. And yeah, I hope today is gentle and you do something that makes you cry with laughter, or at least smile a little bit more than you did yesterday.